This week we have reached chapter 7 in our study of the book of Hebrews. We've already encountered an obscure Old Testament character, Melchizedek, who was mentioned a couple of times earlier in our study. 3 questions I want you to consider this week. Who the heck is Melchizedek? What has this got to do with Jesus? Why is this good news for us? Let's go. First, who the heck is Melchizedek? You're not alone if you've ever read that name and thought, who on earth is this guy? He appears out of nowhere in Genesis 14. Abraham has just rescued his nephew Lot from enemy kings when this mysterious priest king steps into the story. From verse 18 to 20, it says, "And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And Abram gave him a tenth of everything." That's it. 3 verses. Then he disappears for 1,000 years until Psalm 110, verse 4, where God promises, "You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek." His name means King of Righteousness, and King of Salem means King of Peace. He has no recorded genealogy, nor is there a start or end date. The writer of Hebrews says he resembles the Son of God and continues a priest forever. Chapter 7, verse 3. In other words, Melchizedek is like a sketch drawn centuries before Jesus arrives, a priest and king who in one person rules with righteousness and peace, hinting at the real thing to come. Second, what has this got to do with Jesus? Everything. The old priests from the tribe of Levi were temporary. They were sinners. They died. Their sacrifices had to be repeated again and again. The law they served under could reveal sin, but it could never remove it. That's why Hebrews chapter 7 verse 11 asks, if perfection had been attainable through the Levitical priesthood, what further need would there have been for another priest to arise after the order of Melchizedek? God's answer was Jesus. He wasn't born into the priestly tribe. He came from Judah, verse 14. His qualification wasn't bloodline, but the power of an indestructible life, verse 16. At the cross, he offered the final perfect sacrifice for sin, not the blood of animals, but his own. And when he rose from the grave, he began an eternal priesthood that never ends. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 23 and 24 says, "The former priests were many in number, because they were prevented by death from continuing in office. But he holds his priesthood permanently, because he continues forever." Jesus is the true and better Melchizedek, the priest and king, and the only one who perfectly brings together righteousness and peace. Third, why is this good news for us? Because he didn't just make salvation possible, he keeps us saved. Verse 25 is one of the greatest promises in Scripture. Consequently, he is able to save to the uttermost those who draw near to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. To the uttermost means completely, eternally, without remainder. Christ's death and resurrection is once for all. There is no longer any need for a sacrifice for sin to be made. His death is sufficient for the sins of the world. However, while Jesus declared at the cross, "It is finished," his work of applying the redemption he accomplished at the cross continues from heaven. Right now, he prays for you. He stands before the Father interceding on your behalf. When your faith wobbles, when your sin shames you, when your prayer dries up, his don't. Check out verse 26 and 27. "For it was indeed fitting that we should have such a high priest, holy, innocent, unstained, separated from sinners, and exalted above the heavens. He has no need, like those high priests, to offer sacrifices daily, first for his own sins and then for those of the people, since he did this once for all when he offered up himself." That's why this obscure chapter and character matters, because Jesus, the better priest, never fails, never forgets, and never stops standing for you. This week, as we unpack these truths, I hope you will draw near to him. Draw near. Don't hold back in fear or shame. Your righteousness and peace aren't in your record, they're in Him who lives to intercede for you.